All right, I think we should get started. Thank you for everyone for joining us today. We have 12, looks like 12 people. And today we're going to build an application that will allow you to take pictures with your phone or your computer webcam, apply a filter on it using CSS filters that and those filters can be tweaked to create lots of different types of Instagram filters, as well as filters that you can make up, and you will learn how to make up your own filters. Then after taking the pictures and applying this filter, you'll be able to then save the image and then send it to people who you like to send it to. So this is going to be a little different than previous workshops in that we're going to add more time for you guys to work. Since we've done several of these workshops, we're going to rely more on you just copy and pasting some code blocks. And then I'm going to ask you to edit those code blocks to give you guys more confidence in changing code. Because from my experience, it's easier to change existing code to make it do what you want than it is to write code from scratch. After getting a lot of practice with changing existing code and getting that feeling of what works and what doesn't work and why it doesn't work, then you can probably have that confidence needed to create something from scratch. So we're going to start relying more on copying and pasting, and then you guys doing a lot more editing. So there'll be a lot of exercises through this class. Before we get started with all that, I just have one announcement to make. We are planning what we're going to do in November. And what we've learned during this session is from a lot of you guys who've been talking to us is that it's been very hard for you to find the time to take the necessary steps to practice your coding skills. With anything else, if you don't practice your skills, you're not going to learn it. So what we want to do is next month, focus on workshops that will allow you to learn and apply web programming skills to improve your daily life. This could be something you do to make your life easier at home or at school, or if it's at school, for example, how do you can integrate coding into doing your homework? We've had some surveys out there that we've been getting some cool ideas on to help you integrate coding and maybe into your homework or your everyday life. At the end of the program, we're planning to have you guys build a portfolio of projects that you guys have built, and that what you can use to highlight your achievements so that you can prove to others what you have done in the past. And together with this, you'll get a certificate of completion that will be used to you can use to brag about what you've done, to use this to show people that you can attend hackathons, or you can be part of a hackathon team, or trying to get an internship at some job that requires a minimum amount of coding. You can show them that you've actually learned a lot of fundamental basic web programming. So the date and time will be from November 4th to November 30th, again, every Wednesday. I don't know about the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I don't know what you guys think about that, but we might need to tweak something for that Wednesday. We're going to have a registration fee this time because we want you to really pay into this program we're having. It's very cheap, $20. You'll get 3-month Qoom plan for free. And with that, you'll be able to build up your portfolio because you need to have a place to store your successes as well as build future successes off of. So having that Qoom plan will help you do that. But there is financial aid available, and we also know that some of you come from countries where it might be hard to pay. So just contact us at hello@qoom.io. Just fill out this registration form and submit. We really want to make you guys wizards, I like to call it, so that you can use coding to do things that other people can't do. And just like in a wizard in like Harry Potter, you see at Hogwarts professors making new spells, making new things that do really cool and fun things and useful things. Coding is very much like that. It's really, you're training to be a magician. You're learning to do magic by programming computers to do things for you. So if you think of it that way, it's a lot of fun. It's not work. It really does feel magical when you're able to build something that does something outside of yourself. Okay, so enough about that registration. I'll send the link to the chat. GA's already done that. Let me see. No, okay, so there's the registration link. And I think GA will probably email it out to people, and so that you'll have it. So before we get started, do you guys have any questions about this program? Any concerns you want to bring up now? All right, silence. All right, all good. Thank you, Jiaming. 1 second, I have to hide myself because I always talk to myself. So let me hide myself. Why is it showing myself? Okay, let's do it that way. All right, let's get started then. If everyone can log into their space, that would be awesome. And if you haven't created a space yet, go to www.qoom.io, and you can go here and get started and sign up for your own coding space. And once you're in, you can go over here to the 3 hamburgers, go to Qoom of the Week, where you guys probably have registered. And we have a link for today's workshop right here. So if you click that, you'll go to, let's see, I guess I don't have the tab open. Let me click it. I'm going to right click, open link in new tab. And here we go. So this is our lesson today. And as you can see, we have an HTML, CSS, and some JavaScript again. And again, there's a final product. And at the very end, there's some resources that we're going to go through and use today. The program we're building, I'm going to give you a little demo of it. So I'm going to, if you go to this link, I don't think there's a link to the actual demo of it in the notes. My bad, I forgot to put that in there. But if you go here, you'll be able to play with it. You can start your camera. It's a very basic application. It will start your webcam after you ask it to start it. You can take a picture. I just have one filter on this. It's a very boring filter, but we'll make more exciting filters today. And this is just taking it grayscale, and then you can download it. And if you download it, you can open it up in preview or whatever you want to, and then you have your picture, and you can further edit it or send it to whoever you want. And you can just go refresh to start it again. One of the challenges is to hit a button so you guys can go back. We've really made this a very basic version so that you guys on your own can extend it through the challenges that we have. The other thing we have is if you hit start camera, we have this button to switch camera. So if you're using this on the mobile, you can switch between the selfie camera mode and the outer camera. So that's what that is for. So I'm planning to show you actually how to build this on your desktop and how to test it on your phone. We're going to make this a mobile first application. So we're going to make it look good on our mobile phone, not necessarily on our desktop. Okay. All right. So that's what we're going to build. We're going to be, as I said, we're going to create a web app that's laid out nicely for a mobile device. So we're going to build a mobile web app. And also, we're going to create multiple pages. We're going to create a web app that has 2 pages that you can go between. So that's something new we haven't done before. CSS, we're going to do more flexbox and grid system to make sure everything's aligned perfectly and nicely. And really, we're going to go deep into the filters and how you can use CSS filters to change the way the images look. And then we're going to use a few third-party libraries to make what we're building happen so we can focus on the filters. So let's get started. So if you haven't signed up yet, sign up now. And once you sign up, we're going to ask you to create a new folder. So let's do that. I'm going to go over here to the new folder, and I'm going to call mine Insta, I don't know, pic. I'm going to call it something different than Instagram, Instapic. Create. All right, so I have my Instapic folder. Oh, okay. So you signed up but can't find the press project. Oh, I think there is still. That's right. We haven't pushed it out to yet. I forgot. If you go to settings here, you can go here, Qoom of the week, and you should see a button that says participate. If you click that button, you can then see the Qoom of the week page here. So whoever asked that question, Kat. So that's the thing. You don't have the Qoom of the week button. So if you go to settings here, you should see a page like this. And if I stop participating, you probably see this participate button. So Kat, do you see that? Do you see a participate button here? Yes, okay, cool. So click the participate button, and then you should take you right to the page. All right. So let me know, Kat, if you're good. I'll continue. That's a great question. I don't know where you guys are all started from, so thank you for bringing that up. All right, and again, I just clicked this workshop link to go here. All right, I'm gonna go back to my code, all files, and go to my Instapic folder. Okay, and I'm gonna create a new file called, let's call it index.html. It's gonna be the main page for my app. Create that. All right, and then I have my code editor. All right, hopefully everyone is good here. If you are good here, please send me a link to your file so I know that I can get a sense that you guys are with me. So if you guys, like I just did, I just send a link to my page. You can send that on the chat, then every now and then I can click on it and see how you guys are doing. So I give you guys a couple minutes to do that. Okay. All right, thank you, Lucy. IG_filters. Okay, good name. All right. Maybe Kat, Guille, can you and Kat go into a breakout room? Maybe you can help her.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna help her.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, Guille will explain it to you, Kat. It's a very simplified version of VS Code. All right, maybe if someone else can send me their link, then I know you guys are with me. We'll get started. Or if you have any issues, let me know. Thank you, Rachel. All right, thank you, Jiaoming. All right, great. All right, so now we're here. And if you remember, the head is where you put instructions to the browser to do things, and the body is where you put what is going to be visible. So it's like where you put the close on the HTML. So we're going to put, we're going to go to the notes here. And what we're going to do right now, instead of typing all this out, we're just going to copy it. So just kind of select all this here in the notes and then copy it. I think I have a body element there. So I'm going to delete the body element and just, so again, I just deleted the body element and pasting it, Control-V. Okay. And then I have a really ugly version of my application. All right. So, and all thing I can do with the editor is I can select things here. So I can select multiple rows here and then hit Tab. And if I do that, I can move things over. Shift Tab will move things over to the left and Tab will move things to the right. So it's really good to get organized so that you build like these sandwiches inside of the sandwich where the buns of the sandwich here, the body, are lined on the same line. So try, after pasting it in, try to like use that Shift Tab to try to make it look pretty and indent nicely. All right. Okay. So we're in here. I'd like you to change. The first exercise is name this camera something else. So instead of Qoom camera, you can name it something else. You can put your own emojis in. Feel free to put in what you want. If you want some emojis, I have a website here I built for Gun High School that has a bunch of emojis. Go there and send you that link if you want to add some emojis to it. So there's some emojis, not all of them. But yes, Jiaoming, basically all you have is the HTML. So basically what you have here is an H2 element that holds the title. This section here is a page. So camera is one page and filters is another page. So if I collapse them using the little triangles, you can see here's page 1 and here's page 2. So all you have to do right now is change the title that goes in each page. Yeah.
That makes sense. So then we have 2 pages because one is for the filter.
Yeah. So one page, as you'll see, is one is to like take the picture. It shows the camera. And then the other one is once you take a picture, it applies the filter to the picture.
Oh, okay. Is there a way to do it on the same page, or is that more complicated?
There is a way to do it on the same page. It's not really not that more complicated. All that's different between these two pages are these buttons and this main element. So what we could do is put these two things in the main element, put all these buttons in the footer, and then write code to hide and show what we want to see. But then we would have to write code like to hide like 3 buttons and hide code to hide 2 buttons, and we have to hide a lot more things. So it's easier just to hide the whole page. It's less code we have to write. So that's why I wrote it that way. But it's more HTML code, as you can see. So there's a trade-off.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you so much.
Yep. Okay. All right. So if someone wants to send me a link to what they've done, I can just take a look and just kind of see it. So just one person send a link. That would be great. And if you don't know how to edit it, you can just go to, like, if you don't want Qoom here, you just want to delete Qoom, you can just delete. And you can put in my camera if you want, or I can put in InstaPic camera, or I can just call this InstaPic. And if you want those emojis, you can, let's say you wanted to put, I don't know, a rhinoceros. You can just copy the rhinoceros. Maybe that's your company logo or something. And then you can just copy, you can just delete and paste. So it's just a standard web editor. So anyone has a page to share yet? I'm gonna look at Windows, see what Windows look like. Okay, Windows hasn't changed anything yet. All right, how about Curly Swan? Rachel, did you change anything yet, Rachel? Oh, I see it. Oh, snap. Okay, perfect, Rachel. All right, looks like you got it. All right, I'll give you guys a couple more minutes, maybe 30 more seconds, actually. We probably have a lot of work to do, so. All right, so after you do this, you might notice that the pictures are broken inside of the buttons. And that's on purpose. The reason why is because I want to show you how these images are added to buttons. So if you look at the actual finished application, you just can go to the finished application here. Just by changing the name. You'll see here there's these icons here. And it's a really good thing to put on your website. These icons. Oh, where to get the little rhinos? Okay, that's from this URL I sent you guys. So Kat, I know you just came back probably. So I just have some emojis here, and say you want to have a cactus, you can just you can just copy it. You just select it, like you're selecting text, Command C, and then Command V, and then you can add an emoji that way. I think Mac has like an emoji keyboard you can use. So if you're using a Mac, you can use that instead. All right, so the idea now is how do we get our images to work? So here if you look at our HTML, we have our button here called Start Camera. See how that Start Camera is right here, Start Camera. Next to Start Camera is an image element. So let me kind of break this out a little smaller so you can see it better maybe. I'm gonna make this a little bigger. Okay. So next to Start Camera, I have this image. And what it's doing, it's trying to go into an assets folder to grab an image. But if you go to your folder, InstaPic, there's no assets folder here. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete the assets folder. And that way, all we have to do is add a camera.svg file. So I think last class or 2 classes ago, you guys learned about SVGs when we were doing the animations, if you remember correctly. And SVG is just a special type of HTML. So what you can do is you can put that SVG in another file, and you can treat it as an image. I'm going to go here to New, File, and it was called camera.svg. I'll create it. And the editor will bring up a SVG element here, so you can actually type in the SVG. But typing in all the information needed to draw a camera using HTML is very laborious and hard. So usually what people do is they go to websites that host SVGs created by professional artists. And what we did is we did that. We went to those websites and we grabbed these SVGs. So I'm going to copy this SVG here and paste it here. And after it's done saving, I can go back here, just reload this page. And then I have a picture of my camera there. It's big and all that because of CSS. But what I'd like you to do now is copy those SVGs over. And let's say you, let's copy those SVGs over like I have. And then what I'll show you next is where you can go to get these SVGs. But first of all, just copy the SVGs I gave you. So I know these will work with what we're trying to do. So I'm going to do that too. I'm going to now do filter. So it says here, create a filter.svg. So I'm going to close this tab, go to New, File, filter.svg. So if you didn't watch me the first time, you can go in here. And then I can go into my notes, copy that, bam. And then once it says saved, close that tab, refresh this. And now I should have a filter icon. It should. Oh, I don't, because I forgot to delete the assets folder. So I'll delete that. Okay, now I have a filter button icon. Again, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to delete the assets folder on download. I'll start with download now. Create a new file called download.svg. Great. Go to the notes, copy. And the skill of just copying things from notes or from a website to put it into your project is one of the key advantages of using Qoom, in that you can just copy things that are on the internet and immediately paste it into your web project and immediately use it. So if you're using VS Code, you could do the same thing, of course, but then you would have to push your code to a web server to immediately see it. So if I hit refresh, there's my download icon. And I have one more to go. I think I've switched camera. Switch. So I'm going to delete the assets folder. Close that. Create new file. Switch.svg, because it's an SVG file. And go to the notes and then copy switch. And I have my switch. Okay. And then you can also open up the side panel to see what the SVG looks like. And then the other thing is, if you see all these numbers here, what these numbers are describing are the numbers needed to describe the paths that you see around that that's inside and as well as outside this. So this path contains information that tells the browser how to draw the camera shape as well as the two arrow shapes. That's why there's lots and lots of numbers here, because there's lots and lots of different ways that the shape changes directions and things. So each of these is basically a point in X and Y. So if I change this to, I don't know, you can try to break it too, but make this 36, 26. See how that changes it. I didn't seem to break it very much, did it? Okay, so maybe that point's not that important. Maybe the end point. Let's make this one. Let's make this one 25. See how that did it. These points don't seem like it's breaking it. Interesting. How about this point? 5? I guess none of these points are really changing it. Interesting. All right. Undo that. So I guess it needs a lot of these points to change in order to change the path. I don't really understand what all these points are doing. Okay. And then this 100 point is just the width and the height of the shape. So it's a default width and height. But once we have the image inside of here, we can use CSS to change the width and height.
I have one question, if that
Sure.
is okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So in the SVG file, when you had all the points, are those points like every point, like I guess like are they referring to like pixels? Like is it every point that makes up the arrows, or like what are the points referring to?
All right. So this is used. I'll show you where we can learn that. You see how this is a path attribute? Path element, I mean?
Yep.
You can just Google SVG. I should have put this in the references. SVG path element. And I think the better one is MDN. But you can go in here, and it explains to you what these things are. So, see. So you see this letter M?
Yeah.
A and Q. So if I open in CodePen here, I can play with their shape. And if I make this like 40 or 14, do you see how it brought down that point down here?
Yeah.
So it's like the starting point of the shape. So I don't, where does it, I was hoping it would show you what all the letters mean here.
Oh.
I think maybe this wasn't the best document. Let me try the W3 schools, see if it tells you. Yeah, M is move to. So you're like moving the cursor to that point.
Oh, okay.
Line 2 is you moving the line. And what this means, capital letters are absolutely positioned. So that means the point is relative to the origin. So the upper left-hand corner is the origin. So this is like a rectangle here. The 0, 0 is like right here.
Oh, okay.
And then lowercase means relative to the last point that it's drawing it from. So this might be this is actually a pretty good introduction to paths. So I'll put that onto the Zoom chat for you.
All right. Thank you so much.
There you go. You're welcome. Great question. All right. So now I promised you I was going to show you where we get these SVGs from. So if you scroll down to the bottom, there's these references here. And if you click the link here, the noun project, I will just send that to you. You guys can go there. Just want to open a new tab. You guys can go there and find all sorts of SVGs. So if you like, I don't know, what's popular nowadays? BTS, see if there's any BTS icons. Doesn't look like there's any BTS icons. This is not that up to date yet. Let's say you like sushi. You can go over here and find emojis for sushi and put them into your app. So these should all be SVGs. You can get this icon. The problem about this is you have to create an account, but there's so many of them, and we use this a lot. So that's, if you're doing something really creative on the web, I think it's worth creating the account because they've done a lot of work here compiling all these SVG icons, and then they will give you the code basically. So I hope that makes sense. Sometimes hackers would go in here, inspect element, and yeah, see, they don't provide you the SVG. They put it into an image here. So it's hard to get the SVG out. So they serialize the SVG into a string, so you can't really use it. Anyway, so that's where you guys can go get your, for all your projects, all these cool little SVG icons to make your app look more professional. Since I don't know if you all feel comfortable creating an account, I'm not going to ask you to do that for an exercise, but that's something you guys can do on your own time. All right. Now we have our HTML. Our next job is to style our web app. And again, this is basically a lot of things we've already learned before. So let's just copy and paste it and use it as our head tag. So if we go back, I'm gonna delete my head tag and paste this in there. And you should see it work. Okay. And then I'm gonna use the select, tab over to indent things. Okay. Then over here, you see actually my app now looks like what I showed you earlier. So let me walk you through this again and see if you guys have any questions and how this magic is working. And then I'll give you an exercise to try to change some of this stuff. Okay. The first thing here is the meta tag. So this says basically define a pixel based on the width of your device. Because if without this, on your phones, your pixels are very, very small and you make your website look really, really tiny. So this scales a pixel to be a lot bigger. If you guys want to see and play with this, you can hit the QR code. Actually, you should all do this right now. We should all look at our app on the phone because moving forward, we want to use our phones to make sure our site looks good. So I hope most of you have phones. You just scan that QR code. And if you don't know how to scan a QR code, if you have an Apple iPhone, if you just open up your camera and point your camera at this code, it will take you to the page. And I think Android phones have the same similar feature. But once you're done, you should have something that looks like this on your phone. Okay. And then what you can do, see how that looks like that. If I close it, and now if I change this to like 2, let's see what happens. I'm going to save it. Once it's saved, I can go to my phone and then refresh. And you see how everything's a lot bigger because it doubled the size of my pixels. So you can control how big pixels are basically with this. Put it back to 1, hit refresh, and now things are looking good. This next tab, we're going to get into more detail later, but it's where you can add your Google Fonts. In the next tab, I meant element. And then this third element we copied and pasted is all the CSS. So here with the Google font, I'm telling it to make everything basically use this font that I downloaded from Google. And we'll get into the details of that earlier. And then here I'm styling a section. I'm using display grid. But by default, I'm making display none, meaning it's hidden. And then if the body has a class name called camera, I will only show the camera element. So if you look down here, you see how my body has a class camera? So what that says then is to override display none with display grid because my body has this class name camera. And in the JavaScript, what we'll do is when we hit the next page, we will add another class name for filters and change the camera to filters, and what that will do then, it will show the filters section. This won't be true anymore, so it will be hidden because of this. So that's how you're able to control the visibility of different pages just by using CSS. So watch, if I go to inspect here, I can go here, change this class name dynamically and say I want it to be filters. If I do that, it goes to the filter page. The camera page now is hidden. You see it's grayed out, and the filters you see. So by using JavaScript, I can actually change the class name, which I'll show you later, to toggle basically the visibility of different pages. And you guys can play with that too. Over here, you can change this class name to filter and play with it. So what I would like you to do now for the next couple minutes, maybe 5 minutes, is try to change the color scheme of the app. So right now mine is black. So you can see this background black here. I can easily make this red. And it will change everything to red. Change it back to black. The text color, this Instapic here, is up here, color white. So using these two, you should be able to change the color scheme of the application. So let's start with that. I'll give you guys a few minutes to play with that. And let's say you want a color that's not like, you don't know the name of the color. You can actually go to open a new tab, just type in color picker. And you can pick a color here. So let's say I like this green here. And then what you can do is copy the code here and go back to your page. And let's say I want my background to be that green. Oh, actually my text, I'll have my text that green. I'll go Command V. And then my text to change to that green color. So here, I'll write that down here. You can Google color picker to choose a color. And the /*/ just lets me to put comments in my code that my browser will ignore. All right, I want to see some examples, so please send me something, if you don't mind. And ask any questions you might have. I hope I'm not going too fast for you guys. All right, thank you, Lucy. So what you did. Nancy. Strict frog. Cool. Oh, wow. Christmas feels. All right. That is really Christmassy color. Cool. So since you have Christmassy, I think you can change. If you want to have like something really funny, you can do this. You can change this to add a marquee element in here. Let me try to show you. And a marquee element will move the thing across the screen. So if you just wrap your Instapic around a marquee, you can have it just move across the screen. So just maybe look more Christmassy that way, Lucy. Yeah, and I'll send you guys that. That might be something of fun you guys can add if you want to. Okay. So again, here's the color that I changed. Okay. Anyone still working? Or you want me to go on? Silence means, okay, I'll wait. Yeah, exactly. Straight from 1989. Or more like 1999. Yeah. All right, I'll give you guys 2 more minutes to play with that. Remember to check on your phone too. Okay, so. All right, I think we have one more thing to do on the HTML, on the style before we go work on getting the filters in. That is, let's change our font. I don't think I really showed any of you guys how to do the Google fonts. And I think it's a fun exercise. So if you guys can go to fonts.google.com, and the link is in the notes at the bottom, but I'll send it to you here. You can choose from like 1,000 different fonts here. And for those who don't know fonts, there are different categories here. So serif means fonts. So if I show you what serif is a font that has little like brush strokes in the lettering. So you can see there's like these little brush strokes like at the B. These things are called serifs. And sans serifs are fonts without those brush strokes. So it's very it's more minimalistic. Gia, are you trying to say something?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. I saw your lips moving. Okay. All right. Okay. Another type of font is display, which is more big and bold. Then there's handwriting fonts. So handwriting fonts simulate human writing. And monospace fonts are great for typing code editors because each letter have the same width. So if you're trying to build like a grid of letters, monospace is good. So I'm gonna go handwriting here because I think Instagram has more like a handwritten look to it. And I'm going to choose a font that looks good to me. Maybe this one, Damien. So if you like a font, just click it. Okay. And when you're done, you can select this style. Okay. So why does everyone just kind of select this style? Give you guys maybe a minute to find a font and then click select this style here. So again, just so who need to know it, I found my font, Damien. Where did it go? I guess I can always search here again, Damien. Once you find a font you like, you click the card, and then you click select this font. And then you can type things in here. You put Instapic. That looks like maybe Instapic. Yeah, that looks better. You can kind of get a preview of what things look like. And some of you might have a lot of different sizes. This just has one size 400. So just select this style if you have a lot of them. All right. Give you guys, I'll stay quiet for another 40 seconds. All right. Then the next thing you can do is hit this embed link here. There you can get the code you can embed. So there's two things. One is this link tag. So I'll copy the link tag and I'll go back to my page. And I'm going to replace the link tag I already have. Okay. So then the second thing is the font family. I'll go back to my picture and then that's in the body. So I'll just paste that there. So this link tag will download the Damien font. And this other one here, it will use the font. So I'll just highlight those two things. And if you guys can send me a link to some of the fonts you have, that'd be great. And then we can get into the filters. Oh, you're right. It doesn't change the font in the button, right? The button the browser is very opinionated about what buttons should look like. So if you want to change it in the button, you can add another CSS selector here called button and paste that in there, and then it should change it in the button.
Or Jared, can you go to line 83 or around?
Oh, you already have that there somewhere?
Yes, I just put the font.
Oh, I see right here. Thank you. Sorry. In the footer button CSS, do that. Okay. Thank you, Guy. So now it changed it in the button. Thank you, Kat. I was blind. I didn't see that. It looks like now we changed the font. Things kind of messed up there in the button there. I think we should probably have had, let me see things here. If we do that, then I think everything should be centered. Yeah. So if you want everything to be centered in the button, you can just use our flex box, our friend's flex box again, and then center everything. And that will force everything to be centered nicely. All right, so okay, I'll look at cats, gold foxes. Let's see what she's done. Okay, copy that. Photo filter. Oh, wow, that's very bold. Okay. Looks completely different feeling of mine because the fonts are different. Okay, thank you, Kat. Okay. Now we're ready to start playing with the filters. So we finished the styling part, and everyone's app. Before we get into the filters part section, let's just make sure everyone's app works. If you hit Start Camera, it should ask. We want it to actually. We're not ready for this yet. I guess we haven't added the JavaScript. Got ahead of myself. Sorry. Our next step before the filters is we need to add the JavaScript so that we can actually see the camera. Okay. And I'm doing this in a way so that you own the code. Having a web application that takes your picture is very scary to a lot of people because they don't know where their pictures are going to go. So what I'm going to show you is how to build an app where you own all the code. So that way you're not, you don't know if someone nefariously like changed some third-party library on you to take secret pictures of you. So that's one of the reasons why we added the images in here. So there's no third-party dependencies. So that, I forgot to mention that. That's one thing we're gonna do. So our third-party libraries, I copied their code and pasted it inside of these code blocks here, so that you can copy and paste that code, so that you can have that comfort feeling that your pictures are not going to go any weird places. So what we're going to do is we're going to create two JavaScript files, one created by the person who wrote this DOM to image library. And that information is all here, how this library works. But what it will do is it will take a piece of take an element, and it will save and make that element into an image that you can save. It's a really cool library. So I'm going to copy that, go back to here, and I'm going to create a new file called DOM. So I click here, DOM-to image.js, create. And I'm going to paste that code in there. Okay. And I'm going to do just like we did with the SVGs. Trying to get my code. Where were we? Oh, I think we hit the back. No. Did I lose my code tab? All right, I'm going to bring it back here. It was guide.md. No, that's still okay. Guys, I'm going to send up, while you guys do that, I'm going to just clean up my tabs here. It's gotten a little too carried away, too much stuff. Yeah, somehow I lost my guide. So I'm going to go back to Qoom of the Week workshop. And there I am back in. All right. And the other JavaScript file is what I wrote. I wrote this file And then what we'll do is we'll pipe what's called pipe. It will actually show your video from the webcam into a video element. So I'm going to copy that one. I called it script.js, really creative. Back into my folder. Script.js, create that. Okay. And paste it all in there. Okay, so we're not going to go into this JavaScript code. If you're curious, go in there. You can ask me questions about it. But this code will actually now allow you to see the video from the video element. So in here, you can see there's a video element right here. So that JavaScript code will basically show the video in this big black area. Okay. A couple more things we need to copy from the notes is the actual script tag. So we're going to import these script files into our picture. So underneath the style, we're just going to add those two script tags. And now when it's saved, I hit start camera. It then asks me permission, allow, and then I can see my picture. Okay, I don't like looking at myself, so I'm gonna refresh and get rid of that. So I'd like you guys to do the same thing and ask any questions if you're not able to copy and paste, create those files, and get your camera working. Okay, and then send me a link when at least give me one link, guys, so that I can make sure you guys are following along. I'll give you 5 minutes to do that. So it's 5:07, 5:12. I'm going to test on my camera. And also test on your phone, guys. Yep, there we go. I see a picture of you guys. And then the take pictures button should work too. So you should be able to take a picture of yourself. The filter won't work yet because we haven't gotten that far yet. So start camera, allow, take picture. So that should work. When you hit take picture, it takes you to that next page. Let me get rid of the marquee. It's really annoying. Mine works on laptop, but not on phone. Kat, what kind of phone do you have, Kat? You have an Android, okay. I wasn't able to test it on Android because I don't have an Android. What happens? Does it say it just says can't find camera? Does it give you an error? Okay, it might be some setting you have in your device then. It says no camera found. Okay, so that means the browser you're using probably doesn't have access to that camera. I'm guessing it also might be, is it an old Android or is it kind of like an old Android with a really poor camera? If it is an old camera, then in the script.js, I assume everyone has at least a HD camera here. So maybe what you need to do here is the minimum resolution instead of 1280. Let's make that 640 and this one 400. And that will allow lower res cameras to work. So maybe try those two numbers. Yeah. Oh, you fixed it. Okay. So Kat, it might be that, or it might be just it just might be because it's a web app. That's unfortunate. All right. There we go. 2 more minutes. And if I can get a link in 2 minutes, that'd be great. And the thing is, when I take a picture or you take a picture on your app, these pictures are not saved anywhere. They're not saved on your web server. So they're only saved on the person's device that they're using to access your website. So don't worry about people accessing your camera, taking pictures, weird pictures, and putting them on your server. That's not going to happen. Yeah, that module part is very important, Lucy. It allows you to, this here allows you to access things in the body before this element's defined. So without it, yeah, it won't work. Okay, thank you, Lucy. Okay, where's Frog 29? Okay, start camera. Allow. Okay, there's my camera. Take a more of it. Has to be more of a Christmas. I feel like we need to have like some Christmas like hat or something that magically appears. That would be a little fun little project to do. To put like stickers on it or something to make it really Christmas feeling. But yep, so I was able to take my picture. Sweet. All right, thank you. All right, I see small lamb. Sweet. Got a couple of examples this time. Ig pic. Or what does ig stand for? I'm curious. All right. I'm gonna take a picture. There we go. Green. Now I need some leprechauns and some plovers, I think. So that works. Sweet. And curly swan. Okay, Rachel, let's see what you got. Oh, what's this? Boba cam. Oh, we need some boba drinks. All right, start camera. Allow. That's great. And that font even looks like a boba font. It's great. Perfect. Okay. Cool. All right. And the other thing you try on your phone is changing the switching the camera. It's not perfect when you switch the camera. You have to, it like refreshes the page, so you have to like restart the camera. But if you take the picture, if I do this, it switches. It will switch the camera. Then you have to hit that again. Give access. Oh, no camera found now for me. Weird. Okay, try that again. Yeah, there it goes. And then I got the other one. So it will, you can play with it. It's not a good user experience, but it works. And that could be part of a challenge to improve that user experience. All right, let's move forward. And now let's go into filters now. So we got here, we got our scripts. We did these things. Now we're into this next section, creating filters. So there's a JavaScript part and a CSS part. So there's 4 filters that that Guy and I found, and it's using this filter property heavily. So I'm going to copy these and explain to you what this filter thing is before we finish up the code. So with that, go back to my thing. So in my style tag at the bottom, I'm just going to add some CSS classes. Okay. And what I can do now is in JavaScript, I can change these filters. So you guys don't have to follow along, just watch. I just want to show you kind of how this is going to work. So I'm going to here take a picture of myself, and we haven't wrote the JavaScript yet, so the filter doesn't work, but we do have the CSS. So I'm going to go here to inspect element. There's my image. And in my image, I can add a class name. I can go here and just add a class name. And I can choose one of those images, which was sepia. I use sepia. That didn't work. How do I add a class name? Wait, I think I have to edit as HTML actually, then I can do it. There we go. Now I can edit this as HTML. Oh, I see the problem. It's just so much data in it. Do this another way. It's going to lock up the server. Yeah. All right. I'm going to do this another way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and show you what this filter does. So I'm in my element. I hit sepia. I hit start, allow, take picture. And in my image, go to my image, inspect element. Okay. Then here, I'm going to paste that filter sepia. And it applies what's called a sepia filter, which is a way to change how old a picture looks. And in this filter, you can put a number between 0 and 1, and it will add more and less of that sepia tone. So 2 is not very much. 0.9 is a lot. So you can see how it kind of gets rid of the color and gives it this old tone. Okay. There's this other one called Inkwell. So I'm going to copy that filter and paste that in there. Delete that. Add this one. Now I have Inkwell, which is just kind of gives it a grayscale look. And there's 3 other ones here: grayscale, contrast, and brightness. So if I want to make my picture brighter, I can put like a 5 here, and it really makes it saturated, or I can make it really dark by 0.25. So I can change the darkness of it. The contrast, if I make that 0, it will make it all like one color. And here I can slowly make it separate out from that color. I think you guys know what contrast is. High contrast kind of really shows make a black and white look. And then grayscale. It says the same thing as sepia, but instead of making it old, it looks more like black and white. So I want to do 0.5 here. I can make it half gray. So I can just play with these numbers here and do different filters. So filter Brandon is a little more one you would find on Instagram. And I can go here, and it's a mixture of sepia, contrast, brightness, saturate, and hue rotate. Hue rotate is something that will change the color scheme of the picture. So if I want to entirely change that color scheme, do 45 and make it more green if I want. So this is a fun way to play with filters and try to figure out your own. So for now, in the notes, you can read more about filters. Here, I have two links here. One is actually how the CSS works. And it shows you all the different filter properties you can add and gives you examples you can play with and such. So here's like drop shadow, hue rotate, and you can rotate the hue, and kind of gives you a way to play with all these different filters. And I'll give you time to play with them. The other thing is this Instagram filter link. Someone's actually recreated CSS for Instagram. And so you can find your favorite Instagram filter here, maybe, and then copy the CSS code. So you can go to their GitHub page here. Go to, I think it was assets, CSS, and then you go to demo.css, and then you can find the filter name you like, copy and paste it, and put it into the your page. So what we need to do now is get this button to work, and then we'll get into the exercise. So what, did I lose my page again? I think I did. All right, let's go back. Boom of the week. Go back to workshop. Okay, I'm there. And scrolling down, apply the filter, grab that script tag. And all this is doing is it's grabbing the filter button. And when you click the filter button, it's calling a function. And all it's doing now is adding that class name there. As I was showing you, I was doing in DevTools. So here, I can just add that script tag here. Save it. Start camera, allow, take a picture, filter, and then it added that Inkwell filter. So let's say I wanted Brandon. I can copy this, paste this. And try it again. Start camera, allow, take picture, filter, and then I'll have the Brandon filter. And then I can go in here, change these numbers. I can go to that website, add things here, and play with it. So your first challenge or exercise is just play with the one filter and try to get a filter that you like, and then send me a link. And then I'll give you guys maybe 15 minutes to do that. And then the last 15 minutes we'll work on adding another button to create another filter effect. So you can have like all sorts of different filters. So for now, just kind of play with changing this class name and like changing these numbers, going to those websites I showed you, and just have fun playing with it. And I'll check on you guys at 5:36. Okay. All right, so 5:36. We will start again and ask any questions. Oh, Lucy's asking some questions. I see there's some questions here. Is it possible to flip the camera image around? You mean like rotating the image? Or do you mean like changing the camera, Lucy? You just want to flip the camera image around? There's another CSS property called transform that you can scale -1. And I'll show you what that does. Allow, take picture, filter, and that flips it around. If you want to flip it around the other way, you can do scale Y, -1. Start camera, allow, take picture, filter. Oh, that is Y. I guess I have to scale X the other way. Sorry. And that flips it the other way. And then there's this blur one too that's pretty fun. You can put a blur effect. You can put blur 10. I'll just show you that one. That blur didn't work. What did I do wrong? I'm just gonna play with it, guys, and you guys can watch if you need help. Filter. I did something wrong with the blur. Okay, am I missing a question? How do I mean it like when you take a selfie, the picture doesn't move the same way as you move? Oh, you wanna, okay, got it. You wanna flip the camera. I wasn't listening, I was flipping the picture. You do the same thing. Ignore the blur right now, I'll get that to work later. You would take the transform and go to the video element, and then as well as the image element, you can flip those two as well. So now if I start camera, it's just like me, where it flipped, it's the same way. Take picture, it's the same thing. Is that what you want, Lucy? Yes, okay, sweet. All right.
Jared, can you check the cat's question?
Oh, how do you exit out of the pic after you've taken it? I have to, yeah, right now you have to refresh the page. That's, I think, part of the challenge is to how would you do that? You would create a button you click on, and you would either in that JavaScript you could refresh the page, or I'm hoping in these things you're curious enough to like go into the code. And in the script.js code that you copied, there's this button link here called take picture. And then here is where I talked about where you can take the section camera and hide that page and show the other one. So you can basically hide the other page and show this page just by changing the display property. Yep, you're welcome. I'm gonna leave that exercise for you. I'm gonna try and get this blur to work. I'm gonna go to that link. CSS filters, blur. Oh, I see. You need a unit with blur. I see. So if I want to blur it, I'm gonna add to my filter. I'm gonna add a blur of 4 pixels. So camera, allow, take picture, filter. So now it's blurry. So now I can take pictures with a blur effect and have fun with it. All right. Let me show you again how to change these numbers in the dev tools. Start camera, allow, take picture, and just hit this inspect element. Takes you right to the element, and you go to main actually. In the main element, there should be a blur. Oh, I haven't filtered it yet. Hit filter. Adds this filter Brandon class, and then I can change things here. I can change that blur to be 1 pixel, so a little less blurry. And then you guys can change whatever you want in here. I can change the color scheme. I can make that 56 degrees, make it purple. I didn't know it was going to be purple. I just had to play with it. So see what 32 gives me. just need that color. And I can get rid of sepia just by putting a 0 there. So here you can just play with the numbers, very light blur maybe. And once you get a filter you like, you can copy and paste it and create that class. So again, I just want here to inspect element, so I'll leave that up. And the download button should work too, guys. Click the download button. Yeah, it asks you to open it. That's in the script.js library. All right, I think we have a couple more minutes left. You guys can send me what you need, but if you can send me what you guys have done, that would be awesome. I'd love to take a look.
Gerard, Lucy has a question.
Okay, Lucy, thank you. Yes.
Sure. Lucy, you can speak up.
I wanted to do multiple buttons, each for a separate filter. Okay, that's what we're going to do next, Lucy. That's our next, that's what we're going to do at the end of the workshop. You're welcome. All right, I want to see at least one person's. It's 5:36 now, but I want to see one person's filters. I'm curious what you guys have done. You're going to shoot me a web page. Shoot me a link. Anyone? Anyone has a link? I go look at Rachel's. I have her link, so I can just look at hers again. Let's see. Start camera. Picture. Okay, so it looks like that's a really good one. You just did filter. You did filter lo-fi. I see. All right. Anyone else gave me a link? Can we make the one button change from filter to filter as you click on it? Sure, we can do that. So you mean like you want it to like toggle through different filters? All right, let's see what Windows has. Small lamb 76. No, small lamb 7. Oh, okay. I got my camera going. Take my picture. Filter it. Ooh, that's really contrasting. That is satin balls. Okay. Satin balls. All right. Cool name. All right. Thank you. All right. So I guess we can do both actually. Let's do it. First of all, let's have it toggle through different filters. And then we have another button where we can add another filter. So if we want to toggle through certain filters, we need to, when we apply a filter, we need to like see what they have before and choose the next one. So to do that, we can create two variables here. We can create an array filters. We can create like a filters array. So an array is just like a list in Python, similar to Python. And in here, you can just put in the names of the filters. Sepia. I'll put in filter Brannon. It's like a comma delimited list. Basically the filter name, comma, filter name. And then empty string would be like no filter. I'll just add that. And then like filter Inkwell. I'll just put those in there like that. So I can have four filters here. And then I have a constant here to say what index I want. So you can call it 0. So then here I can do basically, let me show you this in the code console here. I have my filters. If you're not familiar with arrays, what I can do is I can use the bracket notation to get different things out. So if I do 0, it gives me the first one out. If I do bracket 3, it will give me 0, 1, 2, 3, the last thing out, the fourth thing out. 1 would give me the second thing out. So this index variable, I can start with 0 so that it would give me the 0 thing, the first thing out. So 0 would be sepia. So instead of filter Brandon here, I can do filters index. Okay. And then when I'm done, I can do index plus plus. And this will add 1 to index. So the first time this goes through, index is 0. When I push the button again, index was 0, but then I added 1. So then index now is 1, then index is 2, and so forth. So if index, for some reason, becomes greater than the number of filters I have, then I want to put index is back to 0. So that has to have a way to like rotate it. So index is equal to filters greater than or less than filters dot length, put it back to 0. So let me show you how that works. So start, allow, take picture, filter. So that should be sepia. When I click it again, it should go to filter Brandon. And it doesn't do it. So what's wrong with my code? Dang it, that was a failure. Oh, constant index. Oh, I see. Yeah, this shouldn't be a constant. This should be let. Because constant, you can only add, you can't change the value of the variable. But with let, you can. Let lets you to have it to be anything you want. So take a picture, filter. Now I have, then it goes to filter Brandon, no filter, filter Inkwell, and then I can just toggle through it. And then I can have, click it really fast and have cool effects. All right. So I'll give you guys maybe 5 minutes to implement that. And then we can add new buttons to it. So here, I'll just kind of highlight the code that I added. Whoops, actually, I added this, changed this, and then these two things. Okay. And if you need to look at my code for some reason, because you're totally lost, you can always look at my code and copy and paste what you need. All right, we'll start again at 5:48. Zoomed out because it was hard to see. All right. Next, let's continue. Anyone have a question? I think I need a cup of water. I'm just gonna get a drink of water. I'm about to lose my voice. So give me 1 second, everyone. All right. Sorry about that. Sometimes you're talking a lot. You just need some water. Okay. Now we're going to add another button really quick. And that's very easy. All we need to do here is down here, filter. You can just copy this, paste this button, call it something else. So instead of filter, we call it maybe we'll filter 2 and filter 2, or we can call it another filter. We can give it a name, whatever you want. I'll just call it filter 2. And then if I start my camera, allow and take a picture, I should have 2 filters here. Now, part of your exercise is you could add a different SVG here for different filters and kind of give a sense of what people are doing. So you can have a blur filter. You can add blur. So maybe I'll do that. I'll just put this called blur. Call that blur. And I will call this blur. So it's more specific to what I want. So that's one thing. There's my HTML. Then in my CSS, I'm going to create a dot blur class. And that was just a filter, blur. And I'm going to start with 2 pixels. So I'm going to call this blur 1. And so that we have an array of blurs, right? I can just blur, I make 4 of them, I guess. Blur 2, blur 3, and blur 4. So now I have 4 blurs, and here I can have like 4 different settings. I can have like 6, I can have 12, and here maybe 25. So I can blur it in different ways. Okay. Okay. Then I just need to find that button. I'm basically going to copy this code and do it for the other one. So actually, might as well copy everything. I'll copy this whole thing, paste it. I'm going to call this $blur to point to that blur button. My filters now are going to be, so I'll put this blurs, I'll call it blurs. So this is blur 1, 2, 3, and 4. Three, 4, and the last blur would be like no blur to reset it. We call this blur index. And I'm call this apply blur. So I'm just kind of repurposing what I've created. Then my main is still the same. My class name now is going to be blur/blur index. This will be blur index plus plus. And blur index is greater than the number of blurs I have. Then I'll put it back to 0. The blur index back to 0. And this then will be, I'm adding an event listener to my blur button, and I'm going to apply blur when I click it. So this is a good exercise to see if you can understand this JavaScript a little more by just renaming the variables and seeing what you need to change. So now if I start my camera, allow, take picture. Now I hit blur. I can have increasing number of blurs and I can let go of blur. So you can do this with contrast, you can do with hue, you can just toggle a lot of different settings there and such. So I really want that download like this really one, so I can download it and open it up. And now I have a blurred picture of myself. Okay, that is that. And again, I have all my code in that link I just sent to everyone. For the last 5 minutes of class, I'm just going to wrap it up. I'm going to let you guys do this as part of the challenge. So I think we're running out of time. And let me get back to the my website here. So I'm just going to go back to my coding space. Go back to Boom of the Week here. And let's talk about the challenge here. So we have 2 tracks again. So first track is the open challenge, where you just make your own filters, have fun with it. Show us what kind of cool filters you can come up with. The second track here is basically it would give you a little more leeway. How would you make the app better? Find a problem and improve user experience. Either Google things to attend the Q&A session. Try to push yourself to see how you can maybe improve something, see if you can figure it out on your own. Again, learning how to talk to computers and using computers takes some curiosity on your part to try to see if you can figure things out. And if you get stuck, that's what we're here for. It's a small changes can make a big difference in user experience. We already did one small change with I think Kat's suggestion of changing the. That's something you could ask me, but it's also something you can Google. There's a lot of all the questions you might have, someone else has probably already have, and it's probably on Stack Overflow or some other website with an answer. So that's one great thing about web programming is it's so easy to find answers online. That's so easy to learn yourself. So if you do this, again, the winner will get $50, runner-up gets $20, and you get your free custom URL and a 3-month Boom Pass. So again, you have a week, and Saturday we have our Q&A session. You can RSVP, and we look forward to seeing your submissions this week. And like I said at the beginning, we are looking to do what we're doing in November to make it more aligned to other work you're having to do, so that you can try to integrate homework into your coding practice, so that it'd be easier for you to practice coding than try to find time to do these things. So looking forward to doing that next month with you all. So I'll wrap it up here. Any last-minute questions you might have, just ask now. Oh, Kat has a question. How do I make the code wrap in Qoom? The code is running off the edge and I cannot scroll to it, nor see it, nor make the window bigger. Is there a wrap option? There is a wrap option. If you hit Command M or Control M, that's or on a Mac it's Command M, you will see these wrap options. Now by default, you should have a margin here, so it shouldn't do that. So if I hit space, 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 it should wrap like mine is. But if it's not, you can click this margin here, or you can wrap it at 40 pixels if you need to. And that's the other thing you can do in these settings in here is you can change the theme. If you don't like the dark theme, if you want to have more like a light theme, you can just change these themes and change the color. And so a lot of students like to do that. Forgot which one I was using. I guess I'll leave it that one. And you can change the cursor styling. There's a lot of things you can change here to make your editor look better, Kat. So great question. Thank you for asking that. Okay, cool. Glad you're here. All right.
I also have one question, if that's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, thank you. So at the beginning, I think, so when you had the two I think does that make the picture blurrier or does that make it clearer?
The two.
Yes.
You talking about the blur too?
Uh, no, I think it was at the beginning of the code, or actually, yeah, you were there, I think. So right above the blur too, so like, yeah, so like above that, where it says 2 pixels.
Mhm.
So does this picture like blurrier, or
It
does it
makes it
make it?
less blurry. So this is like the blur, what's called a blur radius. What it will do is it'll look at 2 pixels around the pixel, every pixel, and it will like average out everything in 2 pixel radius. So it will only blur 2 pixels out. So if I start my camera here and allow and take a picture, so that my first time I hit blur, it will be just 2 pixels. And then it will go to, then if I do this, it'll go to 6 pixels. Do you see how that's blurrier?
Mm-hmm.
And then 12
Yeah.
pixels, and then 25 pixels is really blur. And then it goes back to 0. Because here I add no cap.
Okay. Okay. So the basically like the smaller the number, the more clearer the picture is. Is that
Correct.
right?
That is correct. Yeah.
Uh, okay. That makes sense. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I also had one question about the program for November.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty interested in joining. So I was wondering for the November program, how like would there still be the Saturday Q&A sessions?
Will there be the Saturday Q&A session? So I think, let me look at the notes here. DA, are we still having the Saturday Q&A session?
Actually, we didn't decide yet whether we have another open studio session or not for November.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So at the moment we just confirm we are gonna have a 4 workshop, and actually we are looking for a better time slot for open studio and Q&A session so that more kind of people can come.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are gonna update more details, yeah, before the program start. Definitely, well, in this week.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Thank you so much for letting us know. So for the program, so for the Saturday Q&A, if we decide to include it, would the payment like be online, or is it like how would we pay for it? I guess, or is it
The payment is online. And there's let me go back to that form here. I know I sent it to you guys at the very beginning of class. Here it is right here. So I'll send it again at the bottom of the chat here, and I'm sure we'll send it out to you on the Discord channel. But this is the page, and then you would just enter your credit card right here when you register for it.
okay.
So you just enter your credit card number there and such.
Oh, all right.
That's how we're doing it right
That
now.
makes,
You have
okay.
you have another suggestion for it, or?
I don't know. I was just curious.
Okay.
But yeah, that's good.
All right.
So, okay. So basically, we use the link in the chat to get here,
Mhm.
right? Okay. Got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I think we had another question. What is the purpose of DOM again? All right. So DOM is short for document object model. And the DOM is, you can think of DOM as another term for HTML. So basically the HTML language here creates the DOM, which you see rendered in the browser. So it's like a rendered version of the HTML is really what the DOM is. And this library we're using, DOM to image, what it's doing is, if I go into this script.js code, let me just type in script.js in here, so fumbling around with that. There's this function, a variable called DOM to image that is generated when you import that library. And you say, I want to create a JPEG out of whatever is in the main element. So what it's doing is I give it an element, a variable that has an element in it, and a quality, and it will then output the image here, what's called a data URL. And then I can take that data URL and then add it to an A element, and then have you guys can download it. But that's what that does. That's what DOM is. DOM is basically the rendered view of your HTML. Hope that makes sense. Okay, any other questions? Okay, cool. All right, well, everyone have a great evening and enjoy the rest of your week, and hope to see you guys Saturday. And looking forward to see you guys in our last workshop where we are going to build a little chat application. So, cool. All right.